Hello everyone, this is Ronick Fru again. I'm going to be guiding you through labs number 8, router configuration. In this lab, we are expected to configure a pfSense router or firewall using its web user interface. Let's go through the scenario. As an employee new to the field of networks and infrastructure, it is your responsibility to get a basic understanding of initializing and configuring a pfSense router. The purpose of this lab is to walk through the initial configuration wizard for setting up pfSense. This wizard can be rerun at any time. If you haven't gone through this lab before, please watch the video. However, you can follow along with me. Let's begin the lab. Okay, so we're already in the pfSense machine, so as soon as you load this lab, it takes you straight to the pfSense machine. No username or password is required. So we're just going to go straight to the point. Step 1 says, before we get to the setup wizard, we need to do some configuration via the command line. Okay? So you want to be very careful. Take this lab very seriously because you might be tested on this in your exams. pfSense is very important for your exams. You need to know how to maneuver pfSense, do some interface configurations. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do step 2, which says enter N to not set up VLAN. So our focus here is not to set up VLAN. Should VLANs be set up now? You said no, type the N and you go ahead and press the enter key. Okay, so enter the one interface name or A for auto detection. Our step 3 says set the one interface to HN1. Okay, keep that in mind. HN1. That's what our wide area network interface is going to be, HN1. We've seen this in some labs, not in this style, but we're required to set up HN1, HN2, and HNO. Okay, in this case, we're going to go ahead and do the wide area network, HN1. Press the enter. It says enter the local area network interface name or A for auto detection. Okay, what does step 3? Oh, we did step 3 already. So what does step 4 tells us? So our local area network interface is HN 0. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and press enter. Okay, now we have a wide area network and a local area network set up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at what does step 5 tells us. It says enter while to proceed. So do you want to proceed? Yep, now that we already set up both interfaces, we're going to go ahead and say, hey, go ahead and proceed with this. Configure this, guys. So it's configuring. Let's give it some time. It's going to take a couple of seconds to a minute or two, just depending on the network. While it's configuring, let's look at what step 6 requires of us. The configuration will take a few minutes to complete. Please be patient. Yep, configuration is complete when the pfSense machine displays the following. So this is what we want to see. I'll be the final product. Let's keep your hands tight. It's resolving the DNS, configuring the firewall, boot complete. Okay. So configuration is complete of the pfSense machine. So it says no, the local area network interface has been set to 192.168.1.1/24. Remember, right, that 24 is a CIDR. We mentioned that a couple of times in, I think, almost the last lap, the previous, I think that was lap number 5. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and check steps 6 complete. Okay, now we're beginning with the router configuration. So remember, here it says we're going to configure a pfSense router or firewall using its web user interface. Okay, so now we run that. Okay, now let's begin with the Kali. So we're going to go ahead into the Kali machine and hit the router configuration. Let's navigate from pfSense and go to our Kali machine. Okay, do username and password, which is always the same. The standard. So we're going to go ahead and click the terminal, which is step 3. Of course, IP address, if you want to know whatever IP address for the machine in question that we're working on is, so go ahead and type that. As we all know, we know exactly what we're looking at. So let's verify we are on the same network as pfSense by executing the IP address. So when you go to the pfSense, that's it, 192.168.1.1/24. Go to the Kali, it's the same, right? So we fall within the same range, 24. Okay. Step 4 requires us to click the Kali icon in the upper left corner and search for Firefox. We know how to pull Firefox. You can go ahead. If we don't see Firefox, just type into the search. See Firefox. Go ahead and launch Firefox. Load it. Step 5 says in the address bar, type the IP address of the pfSense box. Then press enter. We know that address already. That is it, the pfSense. So we're going to go ahead and pull it. We've done this multiple times in the other labs on how to pull pfSense in the web base. Go ahead and type 192.168.1.1. So do not forget, you have to be able to know how to set up, how to configure these interfaces in the pfSense command line. And you also have to know how to configure this in the pfSense web-based. So we're going to go ahead and run that. It's loading. We all know what to do, right? Go ahead and click the advance, moving forward, and accept the risk to continue. So by default, we already know what pfSense's address is, username is, and what the password is, pfSense. You log it in, up, there you go. I usually don't save. So, step 8, read the initial wizard prompt and click next. That's it. You can read this, you go ahead and click next. Keep this in mind. Click next again. Go ahead and you click next. Okay, so it's giving you a host name. Keep this in mind. There is a default host name, but you're required to enter a specific host name. My PF Sense, and the domain name is different. My first domain. Please follow suit. For purposes of your exam, this is very important. This process is very important. Okay, this is what you expected. If you enter everything correctly, that's how it should look. You can compare it. There you go. I'm going to close that. Step 11. Now we need to assign our DNS servers. So we're going to go ahead and say, hey, what are DNS servers? Usually if not provided, right, you can choose whatever DNS server that you want to. But in this case, we're instructed to use the Google public DNS server. That's the secondary one. Okay. And what do? You go ahead and you click next. There you go. Step number 12 says pfSense by default will have its time synchronization server set to the ntp.org hostname, which stands for Network Time Protocol. Make sure the fully qualified domain name is set to, of course that's it, to.pfsense.pool.ntp.org. Okay, there you go. Choose a time zone. That is America, Chicago for Central, so you can always, so we're going to go ahead and change that. Go ahead and scroll. America, Chicago. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and click next and move on. It's a very straightforward process. Okay, on the configuration wide area network interface page, choose DHCP as the selected type. This is already defaulted to DHCP, but you have other selected types, so we're going to just leave that alone. Step 15 says read through the rest of the default settings for the WAN interface. You can read through. You can read through the default settings. You can read through. Step 16 says make sure that the box for the block RFC 1918 private networks is unchecked. See this? Uncheck this one. Okay, so we uncheck that. That's the only one we're required to uncheck. It says normally we would enable this, but as this is an internal router firewall, we will leave it unchecked. Okay, go ahead and click next. Okay, 17 says on the local area network interface configuration page, leave the IP address as 192. Yep, that's it. And subnet mask of 24. So that's a subnet mask. We all know that's equivalent to 255.255.255.0. And click next. You can always pull that out to verify. Okay, let's click next. Okay, we're required to put in a password. It says let's change the password to my router. That's a 0, not a no, so just be careful. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, and usually don't save. You're just gonna go ahead and reload. You reload. Okay, so the router has been set up. You go ahead and step number 7. We're gonna go ahead and check 19. We're done with 19. Step 7 says reload and click finish. So we're gonna go down and click finish. Okay, if you require at any point in time, right, to download the configuration, which is you just go to diagnostics. I mentioned that a couple of times every time we went through pfSense. You click on diagnostics and you come down to backup and restore and you click on that. It's loading. Just watch for that file. Sometimes it will load and you see on the bottom. Sometimes you see on the top. So we downloaded this file. We click on download. There you go. And you have to save it. So you can click save file and click OK. Once you click OK, it's either gonna load. You can click sometimes there and kind of see, yep, it's downloading, it's in progress. Sometimes it will look, it will download and you will be able to see it right at the bottom. But here in this case, the blue arrow key, that's where you can click. But anyway, we can check that step. It says after the file has been downloaded, close Firefox. So we're done with that configuration. We're gonna go ahead and close Firefox. There we go. So let's go back to the command line and check on the download. CD downloads. So CD means change. So we're changing from the Kali and we're going into the download. CD downloads /. There we go. So we're in the download. So we're going to go ahead and do the ls command to read, to display. ls command to read the content. So that is the file. Watch the steps very carefully. So that's the file. So step 6 says, in Linux we can use the mv command, which is kind of like the move, to move and rename files. We are going to change the name of this file to backup.xml. The file name has the date included in it. So if you look, that's the date. November 18, 2020. So this command will differ depending on what day it is, of course. Yep. In my case, it's different. May 29, 2025. And that's the time. Okay. In your terminal, type mv config. So we're going to mv config. Then we're going to press the tab key. You press the tab key. And when you press the tab key, what happens is it would complete the name of the file that it's in the download. Then you add backup .xml. And press enter. Okay, so let's see if that has been renamed. There you go. That's how you change change down to downloads, and that's how you pull up a file and rename it. I think we've come to the end of this Labs 8. Thank you. For purposes of this lab, I'm going to submit it for a grading.